station, where our veterans' voices are heard. MBR Talk.
Hey, thanks for supporting our channel by watching and listening.
Find us on the web at mbradio.us.
Welcome to Veteran Talk with Magic Mike, where what's important to you is important to us. Let's talk. I'm your host, Magic Mike, and today we're diving deep into something close to my heart. How sharing your story and getting behind the mic can be a powerful form of rehabilitation. Whether you're fresh out of service, years into civilian life, or somewhere in between, we've got a space for you here. Because everyone has a story, and broadcasting is how we tell it.
Hey everybody, welcome to Veterans Talk on Military Broadcast Radio with yours truly, DJ Magic Mike. I am absolutely in awe over what's been going on the last couple of weeks with the whole Take Care of Veterans Act and the lack of understanding, I guess. You know, here I am, just a regular old veteran who is a combat injured veteran, and I took the last week and a half to 2 weeks to actually dive into it and figure out what they were talking about. And it's just a common sense bill. It really is. So, but before we get into that and dig in, I'd just like to thank everybody out there that's watching me, everybody who is listening to me. I appreciate each and every one of you. And I know this is going to be a long journey, but if you have any questions or anything, feel free to call in at 720-619-0627, or you can hit us on the live stream or in the chat or Facebook or wherever else that I'm at, TikTok or whatever be it. I know that this has been a very difficult time for everybody, and it is very, 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 very confusing what is going on. So I am going to dive in and talk about the Major Richard Starr Act, the Love Lives On, and all these other different things were all kind of put into this big, beautiful bill called Take Care of Veterans Act. Now, before I dive in, a big shout out to H Train. I know he's under the weather, so I love you, brother. I hope you're feeling better. Battle buddy, check on your battle buddies when you guys are out there and stuff like that. And to everybody else, you know, John and on the radio show and everybody else who's helped me to perfect this, I guess, and who's out there listening and taking care of me. I appreciate it. So without further ado, I just wanted to jump in. So if you guys haven't heard already, the Take Care of Veterans Act was unanimously yayed. So the Democrats and Republicans, both 155 to 147 votes, all said yes. That's 303 to move it forward, right? So the next part of that and how that works is that the bill is then pushed on to a possible vote to move forward for a vote. But Mike Johnson, who is the Speaker of the House, said, let's put a pause on that. There's too much going on and too many people don't understand the bill, and let's send it back. I don't think you guys realize what was done when that happened. I mean, it is catastrophically by far one of the most horrible things that we could have done to our veterans. So I'm going to put my headphones on because I feel like there might be an echo, but I'd really like to hear your thoughts and stuff. So here we are. So one of the things that really bothers me with this is the Take Care of Veterans Act, right? What is it? And we'll dive into that right away almost and see what that is all about and what it entails and who it entails and who it benefits, right? Here's something that is really, really heartbreaking and nerving. And I'll just tell you just off the top of the head where it came from, right? So where we're at rather, and then we'll kind of digest into the actual HR 9237, which is the Taking Care of Veterans Act, and Section 108, which everybody's just hell-bent on about tinnitus and sleep apnea. And we'll just dive in. Listen, this is not a reflection of MBR, Military Broadcast Radio, or anybody at MBR. This is only my personal view as a combat veteran who this bill takes care of. Just one of the people this bill would have taken care of had it been passed. So the House actually sidelined the bill today. So because of the controversy of the VFW against the American, I mean, these are organizations that have been around for a while, right? And you're supposed to have the best interest of the veterans, right? So it says, I guess the biggest way, and I'm just so hyped on this and everything, is everybody's acting like they're taking money away from veterans. Okay, first and foremost, nobody's taking any money away from veterans. Nobody. There's nobody going back and going, well, if you have sleep apnea, we're going to take that away from you. If you have tinnitus, we're going to take that away. That is a misconception. That is misleading. And that is totally a false narrative that every single one of your organizations that are preaching that, IVA, VFW, all of you guys that are preaching that, oh, it's going to take away from veterans, you guys are horrible. Horrible. I think each and every one of you should lose your positions immediately. I mean, I've never seen so much just misinformation dealt out. It's unbelievable. So, anyways, the House Republicans they just pulled a controversial veterans measure after it narrowly defeated a Democrat-led effort to force massive revisions to the proposal. So Speaker Mike Johnson blamed the misinformation about Take Care of Veterans Act for the decision and said the measure will be delayed for several weeks while leadership considers next steps. The Republicans defeated a motion to recommit the bill by a 211 to 210 vote after lobbying Republican defectors for nearly 30 minutes. So a heated conversation unfolded in the speaker's ceremonial office as GOP leaders tried to whip holdouts on the bill, according to 4 people with direct knowledge of the matter, blah, 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 blah. Okay. So there's a lot of people fighting about this, right? So if you go online, you'll see that there is fighting that's going on between the VFW, Veterans of Foreign Wars, and the I got H Train in here trying to fix my camera. Try to fix it again, buddy. I have no idea what I'm doing. He said, I'm trying to fix your camera, but I can't. All right. So I got H Train in here trying to fix my camera. If you can hear me, H Train, try and fix my camera again, please. But I sound good. Fix my camera, man. Come back and fix my camera. Anyways, I got H Train saying that he tried to fix my camera, but it didn't work. So I don't know what's going on. Anyway, I don't know. I think my camera looks pretty good to me. Anyway, maybe I just look bad for the camera. So, anyways, back to what I was saying. So one of the important things is that in the Taking Care of Veterans Act, right, it is truly one of the most comprehensive bills. It's almost a bill that would have taken care of veterans. It is all the way across the board. So to dive in a little bit of the Taking Care of Veterans Act and what the big deal is that the VFW is so hell-bent, and the IVA, which is the Iraq and Afghanistan Veterans of America, thanks H Train for fixing my camera. So the Take Care of Veterans Act, that the VFW, Veterans of Foreign Wars, and the and shame on you guys, man, shame on you. I've watched your statements. It's so ignorant of you guys to sit here and say that this bill would take away stuff from veterans. So I want to slow it down a little bit. We'll talk about the bill. We'll talk about my opinion. I'll talk about what I dove deep in. This is going to be a long show, guys, so stay with me. I hope that I can make it all fit and make sense somewhat. So what the bill does was, part of the bill would have included the Major Richard Starr Act. So if you've ever followed my show, you know that I talk about the Major Richard Starr Act and how important that is. What is the Major Richard Starr Act? So just to recap on that, that is a bill that has unanimous bipartisan support, but it can't pass because they don't know where they're going to get the money from. And what it does is it reinstates the offset or the combat tax. Now, this is for combat veterans only. If a veteran was injured in combat and was forced to retire from the military under Chapter 61. Again, if they were forced to retire before 20 years under Chapter 61 in the military and were injured during combat. So if they receive a CRSC, which is a combat-related specialty compensation, which is peanuts, by the way, it's usually 600 to 1,000, I think is the max I've ever seen. This bill would then wipe away that tax, as they call it, or veterans combat tax, and they would get their retirement, which I think is only fair, right? I mean, if somebody serves in combat, like the Jed Morgan, I always put him out there. I'm pretty sure he's tired of me talking about him. Jed Morgan was a Marine, served in the Marine Corps, stepped on a pressure plate, lost both his legs. Okay. What is not to say that Jed Morgan was going to do 20, 25, 30 years in the Marine Corps? What is to say he wasn't? But because he lost both of his legs, he was severely injured, he is now medically retired from the military, right? They forced him out of the military to retire. He is a retiree. So what does he get? He gets his ID card. He gets his TRICARE for life, but he doesn't get his retirement. You're talking about $2,200, $2,300, something like that, right? I'm just saying for number's sake, right? He does not get that money because he didn't do a full 20. Now listen up. If you're in the military for 20 years or more and you retire and you go to the VA and you say, hey, I'm injured, I hurt my back from airborne school or my knees are shot or whatever be it, and you are now 100% permanent and total. We'll use 100% because I like using that number. If you're 100% permanent and total, you now get both of them. You get your retirement, which is like 29, 3,000, 5,000, whatever it is your rank is that you retired at, and you get your 4,000 and whatever money from the VA. You get both of them. Well, hold on, it gets even worse or better. If you are the spouse of a loved one that was killed on active duty, it doesn't matter if it was combat. It doesn't matter if it was a traffic accident. It doesn't matter if they were on a motorcycle accident. If you are the spouse, husband, wife of somebody who died while on active duty, you get both their retirement and a portion of their VA disability. I'll say that again. If you do 20 years in the military and retire and are disabled through the VA, you get both of them. You get both your retirement. So why would you not give that to a combat injured veteran? I'm sorry, that just makes no sense to me. You asked them to go before in a combat zone and they were severely injured and forced to retire, not at their choice. They didn't say, oh, I'd like to retire now. They were forced out of the military to retire. Why would you not give them their retirement? So that's what the Major Richard Starr Act would do. It would wipe that away. Now, we had the opportunity to roll the Major Richard Starr Act. By the way, Major Richard Starr Act has been going on for like 5 years. So we had the opportunity to put the Major Richard Starr Act into this, I call it the Big Beautiful Veterans Bill. We'll call it that. I know you guys hate me right now. So we're going to call it the Big Beautiful Veterans Bill, right? The big beautiful bill, the Big Beautiful Veterans Bill. They said we're going to put that in there. So they were going to put the Major Richard Starr Act, the Love Lives On Act, which, by the way, that is so important because I have no idea why. I don't know who in the right mind even thought of this being a law. But the law, the way it's written right now, is that if a spouse, husband, or wife gets killed while on active duty, they cannot remarry until the age of 55 or 57. If they do, they lose all their benefits. They lose their retirement, the retirement money they get, the TRICARE they get, and everything. They lose all of that. All of that goes away. So you're telling me that a 22-year-old whose husband goes off to combat, or a 25-year-old whose wife goes off to combat, who gets killed in a roadside bomb or gets killed by a mortar attack, can never remarry again. Because if they do, they lose all their benefits. So you can never love again. You can never get remarried again, never fall in love again, and never start a new family again. Because if you do, we're going to take your money away. That's ignorant. So now we have the Major Richard Starr Act, the Love Lives On Act, mental health. Listen, I mean, you guys really need to dive deep into this. And look at this. I mean, this is crazy, absolutely crazy. The amount of stuff that was in this Taking Care of Veterans Act was huge. It is so huge. I mean, it's bigger than huge. It has to do with mental health, love lives on, extension of increased dependency in indemnity compensation. So those people who lost a loved one while on activity, they'll get more money. The last time that was checked was in the 1960s. Okay. The Sherry Briley and Eric Edmondson Veteran Benefit Expansion Act of 2026 claims prohibit claims that are denied solely for certain reasons improve efficiency of adjudications and appeals. Annual report on causes of death among veterans. Listen, VFW, you should be ashamed of yourself. Seriously, you need to worry about all your posts that are closing right now and what you're doing than worrying about this one little 108 here, reforms related to the Department of Veterans Affairs disability ratings. That's what you guys, IVA, Iraq and Afghanistan's Veterans of America, the DAV. And by the way, I'm a member of all you knuckleheads. I am a life member of each and every one of you knuckleheads. And you guys sat there and you fought against this bill because of 108, Section 108. And I'll go into details later on into the show about what Section 108 is. But you guys literally sat there and fought against one section of this bill, negating everything else that was in there. The Major Richard Starr Act, the Love Lives On Act, the extension of increased dependency, DIC is what they call it, okay, for short. The Eric Edmondson Veterans Benefit Expansion Act, annual report on causes of death among veterans, which I think is absolutely important. Absolutely important. Improvements to temporary licensure requirements for contract healthcare professionals who perform medical disability examinations for the Department of Veterans Affairs. Disability examination study on access in rural areas. Improvements to processing and outreach regarding claims involving military sexual trauma. Oh, none of you guys, listen, I read about that one. The sexual trauma, VFW, IVA, all you knuckleheads out there, you guys didn't touch anything on there, but you guys are crying, tinnitus, oh my God, sleep apnea, oh my God, you're going to take that away. Nobody's taking anything away. But you didn't want to talk about the sexual trauma, right? Commander of the VFW, you should be ashamed of yourself. You're a nurse. You are a nurse, and you should know better than this. You guys are shameful, seriously, shameful. Independent assessment of notices that the Secretary of Veterans Affairs sends to claimants. Independent assessments of forms that the Secretary of Veterans Affairs sends to claimants. Education, economic opportunities. This is all in that bill. Vets Opportunity Act. Improvements to process for making payments to automobile sellers for automobiles purchased for certain disabled veterans. Really? Monthly housing stipend under the post 9/11 educational assistance program for individuals who pursue summer programs of education solely through distant learning. And it goes on and on. Clarification regarding inclusion of medically necessary automobile adaptions, digital communications, improvements to transition assistance programs, presentations. Listen, elimination of requirement that on-campus education and vocational counseling is provided. Expansion of entitlement for payment for licensing or certification tests for veterans entitled to education assistance. So somebody who wants to go get their license to be a mechanic, all of that. That's all in this Taking Care of Veterans Act. Veterans Caregiver Act, Veterans TBI Breakthrough Exploration of Adaptive Care Opportunities nationwide, Department of Veterans Affairs assessment for travel physicians to serve territories that are likely not frequented, right? So if you live out in the middle of nowhere, inclusion of adaptive prosthetics, modifications and reauthorization, Staff Sergeant Parker Gordon Fox Suicide Prevention Grant Program. Oh, but you guys didn't talk about that. Hey, Commander VFW. Yeah, you didn't talk about that. You're a nurse, right? I'm a nurse and I serve and I'm a combat veteran, but you didn't talk about that. You didn't talk about the suicide prevention that's written into there. All you cared about was the tinnitus and the sleep apnea, right? For future veterans. For people who are still serving in the military or going to serve in the military, that's what you were worried about. And you guys killed this bill on, was that. And we're going to dive into that. Furnishing of certain health services to veterans in the freely associated states. Modification of precision medicine for veteran reporting on suicide by veterans and members of the armed forces. There's so much in this bill. Pilot program, implementation of report efforts for the Veterans Affairs appointment scheduling, research related to menopause, premenopause, and midlife women's health. Women, you guys should be all upset over this. I'm seriously. Veterans spinal trauma access to new devices, bowel and bladder, authorization of appropriation of Office of Information, establishment under the Secretary of Management and Chief Financial Officer. It goes on. Listen, the list goes on and on and on and on and on and on. Listen, I could sit here all day and talk about what was in this beautiful bill. Seriously, I could talk about everything that was in this bill. But you know what? You guys want to sit there and shoot it down. The VFW, literally, along with the DAV and IVA and other organizations that are out there, literally fought this bill and said it's taken away from veterans. Taken away from veterans. So we're going to talk about that. What would it be, or what would mislead or lead somebody to think? Listen, the VFW is a huge organization. So is DAV and IVA, right? They're big organizations. Well, IVA's kind of whatever. Paul, I know you probably never watch this because you never get off your couch anymore, but I really don't care. Listen, I've met you one time, long time ago, and you guys were like, whatever. Listen, I got it. These organizations are out there supposed to be helping veterans. Really? If you want to help a veteran, why don't you guys go against the veterans that are sitting there and saying, we can help you get 100%? VA, pension and compensation, is not a welfare system. Stop treating it like that, because that's exactly what you guys are doing. You're treating it as a welfare system. It was never meant to be a free money. Veterans deserve everything that they get. You're absolutely right. I'm a veteran. I know, combat veteran. I know, 100% permanent total. I get it. But listen to me, and listen to me on this. Permanent and total pension and compensation from the VA money is not a free service. You have literally military personnel right now that are still serving in the military. They have a year left, 2 years left, and they're already 100% before they even get out of the military. You guys are going to bankrupt the VA. You're going to bankrupt this country. Seriously, it's stupid. Oh, but veterans deserve everything they get. Okay, so let me ask you a question. They served 4 years in an office position, never once see the field, never wore Kevlar except for when they qualify on the range with a weapon, never been to combat, are non-deployable. They get out and they're 100% permanent total because they have carpal tunnel from writing with their pencil. I know I'm going to catch a lot of flack for this, but do you think that that's fair? Do you think that that's fair? Because you see, the VA compensation and pension was designed to offset a veteran who gets injured. And I'm going to give you a very generic example. A veteran hurts their back while they're in the military. Doesn't matter how they hurt it. Jump off of a freaking track vehicle, whatever be it. Playing football while on active duty. I don't care. They hurt their back. Airborne. Perfect example. They jump out of an airplane, jump down, they hurt their back, compress their disc, and now they're screwed, right? They get out and they cannot have a normal civilian job, right? They can't be a police officer. They can't be a firefighter. They can't be whatever it is, right? Because they have a compressed disc and they've had operation after operation. They can barely get around and stuff like that, right? The pension and compensation was made for that individual, that veteran, to help take care of them because they could not find a career, if you will. That's what it's designed for. It's not designed for Bob or Josie or whoever it is that gets out of the military and goes, oh, I got an extra $4,600 a month and I'm going to go work for the government making $130,000. That is not what it's made for. It is not a welfare. It is not meant for every veteran. Now let's back this up one step. Medical? Absolutely. I think if a veteran serves his obligation in the military, whether it's 2, 3, or 4 years, I think they should get medical no matter what. Ingrown toenail? Absolutely. Hernia? Absolutely. Nosebleed? 100%. Menopause? 100%. They want to get their freaking tubes tied, whatever be it? Absolutely. I think it should be paid for. But compensation and pension or money? Absolutely not. Absolutely not. I think that we're giving that away so quick and so freely. It is making my head spin right now because we are becoming a society. And I think that this is really important to listen to, is that we have become a society now. And if you look at it, you see listen, I cannot go 5 seconds on TikTok or Instagram or whatever it is on social media without getting somebody saying, are you 50%? Well, we guarantee you we can get you your 100%. Those people all need to be out of there. Are you serious right now? I mean, you're just as bad as these lawyers saying, oh, you've been in a car accident? I can get you money. Hey, you've been hit by a rock flew up and broke your windshield? We can get you money. What are we doing as a society? Our morals are piss poor. Veterans used to stand for something. There is no veteran. Listen, in my era, there's no veteran that stood there and says, man, I can't wait to get out because, man, the VA is going to pay me. Ooh, ooh, ooh. Nobody ever did that. Nobody did that. There is no veteran that did that. I'm telling you, we live in a society where everything seems like it's pre-regulated and free, and it's not. We are not free. We have no more morals anymore, it seems. I read this one post, and I'll read it later on from Facebook, and it was, I told the guy, I go, absolutely agree with you, 100%. A veteran doesn't sit there and go, you owe it to me. No, when we took that oath and raised our right hand, it was a volunteer position that we took. Now, nobody knew you were going to get hurt in Iraq or Afghanistan or Djibouti or whatever it is. But for God's sake, you can get PTSD now through the VA 100% from doing war games on a computer because it seems so real. You could get PTSD from it. Are you out of your flipping minds? What is going on? I'm just at a loss. I really am. I'm at a loss. So again, if you're just now joining me, we're talking about the Take Care of Veterans Act that was just shot down completely by organizations. And it literally, everybody was saying that it was pinning veterans against veterans. And listen, first of all, look up the word veteran and what it means. If you're on active duty right now, you are not a veteran. You're on active duty. You are a soldier, a Marine, a sailor, an airman, a Space Force, a Coast Guard, whatever it is, you're on active duty. Look up the word veteran. Look it up. These guys are literally getting out of the military. Listen, I belong to a Facebook group called 100% Permanent and Total. Every day, hey, I'm getting ready to get out of the Army. I'm already 100%. How is that possible? It took me 14 years to get 100%. 14 years. I know people, it took them 35 years to get 100%. These people are getting out of the military now with 100%. Is that good? I'm just confused. I'm really confused on how this is possible. I really am. I'm going to take a short break, literally a short break. We're going to come back. We're going to talk more about the Taking Care of Veterans Act on Veterans Talk, Military Broadcast Radio. Yours to DJ Magic Mike. And I am going to dive in over the biggest controversy that the VFW and IVA seem to think is like, oh my God, it's so important. You're taking away from veterans. And they are so lame for saying this. But we'll be right back. We'll take a quick video break. We need to dive into this, and we'll be right back.
The first plane hit the other tower right after I came in. It left a fiery, gaping hole where officers had been. We stood and watched in horror as we saw the first ones fall. Then someone yelled, "Get out, get out, they're trying to kill us all." I grabbed the pictures from my desk and joined the flight for life. With every step I called the name of my children and my wife. And then we heard them coming up from several floors below. A crowd of firefighters with their heavy gear in tow. Now every time I try to sleep, I'm haunted by the sound of firemen pounding up the stairs while we were running down. And when we met them on the stairs, they said we were too slow. Get out, they yelled at us, the whole thing's gonna go. They didn't have to tell us twice, we'd seen the world on fire. We kept on running down the stairs while they kept climbing high. Now every time I try to sleep, I'm haunted by the sound of firemen pounding up the stairs while we were running down. Thank God we made it to the street. We ran through ash and smoke. I could not see which way to run. I thought that I would choke. A fireman grabbed me by the arm and pointed me uptown. Then Christ, I heard him whisper as the tower came crashing down. So now I go to funerals for men I never knew. The pipers play Amazing Grace as the coffins come in view. They must have seen it coming as they turn to face.
You're stronger than you know and braver than you feel. One waddle at a time.
Whenever things get rough or it feels like you're at the edge, remember this: storms pass.
Tough times don't last, but tough people do.
All right, everybody, back with yours truly, Magic, on the radio here at Military Broadcast Radio Veterans Talk. And we're talking about the Taking Care of Veterans Act that was just absolutely hijacked by the DAV, by IVA, by VFW. And I'm diving deep into it because I want everybody to understand what transpired. I mean, really, truly, what transpired. And I just want to read you guys some things that just blow my mind. So one of the biggest things is the misconception of what they're arguing about with tinnitus. They're saying you're taking from future veterans. First of all, you're not taking anything away from future veterans. Read the freaking bill as it was written. Read the bill as it was written, and I'm going to dive into that real quick, and then we're going to talk about what it exactly is, okay? So this is the actual HR 9237, 119th Congress, right? This is the actual bill, Take Care of Veterans, right? And in section 108, which is everybody's complaining about, right? We'll go to 108 right here on the bill. I mean, I can't make this any clearer. This is like childish, man. This is like juvenile. I'm not even a lawyer, man, and I could read this bill and figure out what it is. So in section 108 of the HR 9237, which is the, Veterans Act, it says about, well, let's start off here. Compensation 101, Major Richard Starr Act, concurrent recipient general section, right? And then we'll just go down, and then it goes to the Love Lives On Act. There's the extension of increased DIC, what I talked about, right? These are all the things that are in this bill. And then when you get to 108, it sits here and it says, I gotta find it again. I'm sorry about that. I had it, and then I took a break and I started reading something else. So I got a little ADHD here. But and just to be clear on it, section 108 is literally like this big. It's tiny. It is so tiny. Let's see here. Annual report, notice of avoidable deferrals of claims. 106 is annual report of causes of death among veterans, right? So then you go to 108. Okay. 107 is even big. 108 is literally one paragraph. That's it. But this is what the VFW, Veterans of Foreign War, and DAV and IVA and whatever that other freaking VSO was, I'd never even heard of them, is complaining about. Reforms related to the Department of Veterans Affairs disability ratings. This is what's killing the bill. This is what is keeping all that good stuff in the bill from moving forward, right? Because these people are misinformed. And I think it's negligence for the VFW commander to stand there as a nurse and say, oh, but this is unfair for future claimants. No, it's not. Explain to me and the rest of us veterans how this is taking money away from future veterans. And I'm going to read it. It's very simple. Ratings for sleep apnea, because that's what everybody's complaining about, sleep apnea and tinnitus, right? Ratings for sleep apnea. In general, the Secretary of Veterans Affairs shall revise the schedule for rating disabilities adopted and applied under Section 1155 of Title 38. Time out. What is Section 1155 of Title 38? Well, Section 1155 of Title 38 of the United States Code authorizes the Department of Veterans Affairs to maintain and apply a schedule of ratings for reducing earning capacity from specific service-connected injuries. This law requires that the schedule to be based disability payments strictly on the average impairments of earning capacity in civil occupations, using exactly 10 grades of disability from 10% to 100. Now, I picked that apart with ChatGPT, with all kinds of AIs and everything like that. Section 155 of Title 38 says that the U.S. Department of Veterans Affairs, right? That's the VA, has the ability to reduce earning capacity from specific service-connected injuries. Okay, so let's break this down a little bit more. What does that mean in layman's terms? Because it's all like numbers and everything like that. If you have athlete's foot, we'll use that one because that was talked about by the VFW knuckleheads. If you have athlete's foot, right, because you are not able to change your boots like a normal civilian, right? You're in combat or whatever be it, you can't change your shoes or whatever, you get athlete's foot. And it turns into really bad athlete's foot and you can't get it cured. And then all of a sudden they give you a pill or medicine or creams or whatever, and that goes away. Do you think that that person should still be paid and compensated for athlete's foot? If you say yeah, just go put gasoline in your eyes. Seriously, just do something stupid because you're stupid. Because there's no reason for that. There's no reason for that. So do you think that somebody who loses their job, because we're not talking about veterans right now, we're going to talk about regular civilians. So you think that somebody loses their job that gets unemployment should continue to get unemployment when they find a new job? Oh, that's what I thought. Crickets, right? Absolutely not. So why would we compensate somebody with money if they're fixed? Because it might come back. Well, when it comes back, we'll pay them again. It's that simple. But seriously, why would we do that? First and foremost, nobody's taking away sleep apnea or tinnitus. If you have it and you're 100% or 50% for sleep, 100% for sleep apnea is almost unheard of. So most people are 50% for sleep apnea because they have a CPAP. That's the machine. It sounds like Darth Vader. So if you have sleep apnea now, moving forward, that's you have sleep apnea. Nobody's going to take that away. That was a big misconception when the Take Care of Veterans Act first came out. Everybody said, oh, but they're going to take away sleep. Nobody's taking away anything. Nobody's taking anything away. Okay. So this is what they wrote in the bill. They wrote in the bill. I'm sorry, I have to keep going back and forth because I'm sure that, I'm going to get all kinds of people commenting and saying, hey, knucklehead, this and that. So here's what they wrote in the bill. Okay. They wrote in the bill that under that section, right, of HR 9237, that in general, the Secretary of Veterans Affairs shall revise the schedule of rating of disabilities adapted and applied under Section 111 the United States Code as follows. A grade of disability of 0% shall be assigned for sleep apnea syndrome when the syndrome is asymptomatic. For you guys that are not really medically inclined out there, and I had to look this up because I'm like, I thought that meant one thing, and it does. It means exactly what I thought it was. A grade of disability of 0% shall be assigned for sleep apnea syndrome when the syndrome is asymptomatic with or without treatment. Okay, just for you guys out there, break this down Barney style, hold your hand like a small child. Asymptomatic means they're not there anymore, right? So if you had sleep apnea and all of a sudden you don't have it, with or without treatment, then it's a 0. That's a no-brainer. You shouldn't get anything for it. Why would you get 10% for sleep apnea just because somebody said, oh, you got sleep apnea? Do you need a machine? No, you don't need a machine. You don't need anything. It goes away on its own, or it's treatable with maybe a little bit of loss of weight, we'll just say. I'm just putting that out there, right? A grade of disability of 10% shall be assigned for sleep apnea syndrome when treatment yields incomplete relief. Incomplete relief. So you go and you say you have sleep apnea because you're overweight and you lose that weight and you still have sleep apnea. They're going to give you 10%. I think that's perfectly fair. I don't understand where the problem is here. A grade of disability of 50% shall be assigned for sleep apnea syndrome only if treatment is either ineffective or the veteran is unable to use prescribed treatment. Just throwing this out there, guys. Again, hold your hand like a small child. Break it down Barney style, Sesame Street. A grade of disability of 50% shall be assigned for sleep apnea syndrome only if treatment is either ineffective or veteran is unable to use prescribed treatment. So let's just say you're diagnosed with sleep apnea, and they go, here's a CPAP machine or an APAP machine, one of the machines that makes you look like Darth Vader, and you go, I'm claustrophobic. I can't freaking use that shit. Well, you're 50% now. Congratulations. But if you use it and you're able to get some good sleep and you start eating healthy and dieting and et cetera, because that's the cause. I'm just saying, if that is your cause, like sleep apnea can be caused by PTSD. It can be caused by a million things, right? So stress, right? Just a lot of things, right? Sleep apnea isn't just overweight. I'm just picking on overweight because I'm overweight. If you are better, why would you get paid? I don't understand the problem with this. This is only sleep apnea, and this is what everybody's so hell-bent about, this Taking Care of Veterans Act. Oh, it's unfair. It's unfair to future claimants. It's unfair to future claimants. Why? Do you know the last time that the VA did an adjustment to their ratings, right, was 2017, and before that was 1940s? So since 1940s, they've always had the same ratings. Don't you think that medicine advanced since then? I do, right? Listen, if they had a chip that they could implant in my brain right now that says you no longer have a TBI, PTSD, and don't suffer from this and this and this, I'm good. I'm good with you taking my money away. I'm absolutely 100% good with that. If there is a pill, magic pill or magic drink that I could drink that would take away all my ailments of not being able to breathe, scarring of my lungs, cancer in the kidneys, whatever be it, I would take that gladly, and you could take my money. You could have the pill or the money. I'd take the pill all day, every day. And I guarantee you those veterans that are out there most veterans out there would still do that. They would take that pill, that magic pill, to make it all go away, and you can keep the money. Absolutely. So here it is, the breakdown of the Take Care of Veterans Act. VFW, IVA, and DAV are crying over sleep apnea. Oh, but wait, stand on, sit, have a seat there, young one. It gets way worse. So then we move on to tinnitus. So those of you who don't know what tinnitus is, and by the way, if you don't know what sleep apnea is, Google search. I'm not going to break it down Barney style. But sleep apnea is just sleep disturbances. Tinnitus, if you don't know what tinnitus is, that's a ringing in your ears. If you don't know what that is, go sit in a quiet spot where you don't hear anything, no traffic, no nothing. Take a long drive out into the woods and just sit there for a little bit. If you've ever had a hearing test and you sat in that booth that was completely soundproof, you had tinnitus. I don't care who you are. You've had some kind of tinnitus. It's a ringing in the ears. Okay. And this is what they're saying about tinnitus. And again, this is something they were crying about. It says, when it comes to tinnitus, ratings for tinnitus, the Secretary of the Army shall revise and schedule of rating of disabilities and adopt and apply under Section 1155 of Title 38. Again, we read that. Except as provided in paragraph 2, tinnitus may not be assigned as a separate compensable disability rating. I agree with that totally. I don't see anything wrong with that. I have tinnitus. I don't see anything wrong with that. So I had tinnitus when I was 12 years old from listening to music. Walkman came out. I used to and listen to my music loud. So I had tinnitus. What they're saying is that you have to have some kind of proof that this was military related. I'm perfectly okay with that. I don't understand what VFW and DAV and IVA and all these other people are crying about. I totally agree with that. And there's a lot of people out here. Listen, I've sat there and listened to veterans. I've talked to veterans. I went out and walked the walk with veterans. This is something that is like it's common sense. If you have tinnitus, you have to prove that it came from the military. Guess what? If you're a machinist, probably have tinnitus. You're a combat engineer, probably have tinnitus. Infantryman, probably have tinnitus. If you were sitting in the S1 giving out awards, probably don't have tinnitus. Maybe you do from going to the range. I'm just saying. You have to prove it. Has to be documented. Like everything else has to be documented. This has not been changed since the last time it was changed, I think it was 1940 something I read online, was the last time that sleep apnea and all this other stuff was looked at. But this is something that came from the Joe Biden presidency era. They said, hey, we need to revisit this. 1.5 million people, 1.5 million veterans claim sleep apnea. 1.5 million. Do you know how many claim PTSD? Less than that. I'm just saying, I'm just putting that out there. So what they're saying is tinnitus has to be presumptive, has to have another underlying thing. It's not a disability on its own. A grade of disability of 10% shall be assigned for tinnitus only when tinnitus is diagnosed as associated with service-connected, as defined in Section 101.16 of Title 38. Everything has to fall under there. I can't sit there and go and say, hey, I was in a car accident when I was 13 and I got a pin in my leg, but y'all let me in the Army. And because that pin in my leg is bothering me now, is going to be service connected. No, that's not how this works. In general, the revision to the schedule for rating disabilities adopted and applied under section blah, 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 blah. Protection of existing ratings. This is where the VFW and IVA and all those groups really tick me off, because it says here, protection of existing ratings. The revision to the schedule for rating disabilities made pursuant to this section may not serve as the basis for reduction. That means that if you already have tinnitus, already have it in your system, in your VA rating disability or sleep apnea, they cannot take it away. It says it right here: protection of existing ratings. The revision to the schedule for the rating disabilities made pursuant to this section may not, that means not going to happen, serve as the basis for reducing, discontinuing, or otherwise adversely affecting compensation that was in effect on the day before the date of the enactment of this act. You guys, man, listen, I am disappointed. As a combat veteran, I'm disappointed at you, Madam Commander of the VFW. I'm disappointed at you at the DAV. I'm disappointed at IVA and every other organization that pin veteran against veteran because of these two stupid things that you sit there and say it's taking money away from future veterans. No, it's not. How do you figure? No more rating for PTSD. That might be taking money away from future veterans. No more rating for back trouble, for knee, for eyes, for dislocated shoulders or carpal, what do they call that? Arthritis, degenerate arthritis of the shoulder, something that I'm seeing more and more and more, and diving into all this, that I'm seeing more and more at the VA. That would be taking money from future claims, something that's almost a guaranteed. But tinnitus is not a guarantee. Sleep apnea, not a guarantee. And stop using the VA compensation and pension as a form of social welfare, for goodness sake. That's not what it's meant to be. That's not what it's meant to be. Every Tom, Dick, and Harry that gets out of the VA, out of the military now, is going to be 100%, 50%, or something like that. What's going on? If you never went in the military and you went to work for the police department, would that fly? Carrying all that bulletproof vest and the gun belt and all that. Firefighter has to wear all that gear, the bunk out gear and all that stuff. Would that fly for them if they retire from the military or from the fire department or the police department or whatever be it, and they get out? What about a doctor? What about a doctor that walks all day on his feet, or a nurse? Bloodborne pathogens and all the stress that they see. Do they have that opportunity? I'm just putting that out there. Listen, it's pathetic. It really is. It's gotten to be where I just don't even know what to say anymore. I appreciate it, Charles, man. I hope you're doing better, buddy. Charles just got out of surgery, so y'all keep him and his family in your prayers. But yeah, this is just so disheartening. The fact that you as a organization has been around for years, the VFW, as an organization that's been around for years, the DAV, and an organization is supposed to be helping veterans, you did a disservice. You really did. IVA, DAV, VFW, you have pinned veteran against veteran now. And I'm getting a lot of backlash. Trust me, I'm looking at my comments and stuff like that. I'm not sharing with you. It's like, oh, you're only saying that because the Major Mitchell Star Act was it. Yeah, it would have affected me directly. Absolutely. But that's not the only reason I'm talking about it. That's not the only reason I'm talking about it. I cannot believe that you stood there on Capitol Hill and cried and pinned veteran against veteran, saying that the Take Care of Veterans Act was not good because these two little things in there. It's future claims for veterans. No, they're not. Nothing is guaranteed. Nothing is guaranteed as a veteran. You being alive and coming home from combat, you should know that as the commander of the VFW. Sir, I was a nurse and served in combat. Good. We're proud of you. We love our female veterans. We love our nurses. It has nothing to do with that. But you should know that even coming home is not guaranteed for a veteran. So why would you sit there and make this bogus thing and say that it's because of future claims? Future claims. You're taking money away from future veterans. There's no money being taken away from future veterans. Listen, I am so just over this whole thing with the Take Care of Veterans Act. There were so many good things to come out of that bill, and now it's been tabled. I mean, listen, the Major Richard Starr Act and Major Richard Starr in himself, Google search it. That man him and his wife both passed away. He was the one that pushed this. And you guys took that off the table. Love Lives On Act. Love Lives On Act. You guys screwed that up. Thanks, VFW. Thanks, DAV. Thanks, IVA. All because of your selfishness, because you want to get your name out there. We haven't heard from you since 2009, 2010. Bro, sit back. Take a freaking road. Seriously. I mean, it's just aggravating. Aggravating. We're going to take another real quick break, and I'm going to get something to drink because my throat is sore as crazy. But when we come back, we're going to talk a little bit more about Taking Care of Veterans Act, and then I want to pinpoint a couple things with the VFW, DAV, and IVA and all those organizations, and why were they doing that? Why were they pinning veteran against veteran? I mean, it makes no sense. We'll be right back. You're listening to Veterans Talk with yours truly, Magic Mike, on Military Broadcast Radio. We are the radio station that gives our veterans a voice. And listen, if you're joining me for the first time, or if you're out there listening to me, I need to ask you guys a favor. Military Broadcast Radio is for the veterans. It gives veterans a voice. It is a nonprofit organization. Everything that we take in is used for the StreamYard service, for teaching veterans. We have teachers that teach the veterans how to podcast, how to be on the radio. I'm not just on YouTube or Facebook or Spotify or whatever be it, Kick, right? I'm also on Roku Television, right? And I'm learning so much with Canva and all this stuff. And this is my therapy. This is really my therapy. A gentleman by the name of H-Train, Joel Hunt, who has the H-Train show, literally is the kind of brainstorm behind this organization. If you will donate to a 501c3, I know I'm saying it all kinds of backwards. Military Broadcast Radio would love your help. Again, it's very expensive to be on StreamYard, and all this equipment you see is all paid for by Military Broadcast Radio. The headset that you see I'm wearing, the microphone, there's like a whole board here and all this stuff. This is all paid for by them. It is an amazing thing. Unfortunately, we are falling short of our goal, and we're just looking for a little bit of a hand up, not a handout. So if you could generously donate $1, $1.50, $2 or whatever to Military Broadcast Radio, remember it is a tax write-off, and it will help a veteran. It helps a veteran to really get in here and be able to do what he wants to do and needs to do. Seriously. I just got told that I need to adjust my camera during the break. Make sure top camera is touching your head. You have a lot of space. I like my space. Listen up, H-Train. I don't like my body. My body's fat down here. But I'll adjust my camera. We're going to take a quick short break. We'll be right back with you guys here on Veterans Talk, Military Broadcast Radio. If you're joining me for the first time, we're talking about the Take Care of Veterans Act and what it means and how it was hijacked by the VFW, IVA, and DAV. And again, we'll be right back on this radio station.
have killings in our street anymore. We need love and understanding. 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 It ain't fair. It ain't fair. It ain't fair. It ain't fair. I don't know what I'm gonna do. All these people are so damn cruel. If we had loving, we wouldn't have war. We wouldn't have killings in our street anymore. We need love and understanding. 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 Where do we go? What do we do? Where do we go? Now I'm telling you, yeah.
And we're back with Veterans Talk with your truly DJ Magic Mike, and we're talking about the Taking Care of Veterans Act that was just absolutely just hijacked by the sorry about that. The Taking Care of Veterans Act that was hijacked by the VFW and the DAV and IVA, and it was shelved. It was basically shelved by the Speaker of the House, Mike Johnson. He was just like, look, there's too much going on here. Listen, everybody is voting for it. Everybody wants it, but there's too many organizations getting involved here and too many people. And I guess it's written without understanding, I guess is what the problem is, right? To be safe. So, I ran it through ChatGPT. So thanks, H Train. I'm trying to see. He says there's a lot of space. Man, dude, it's hard. I don't know. Is that better? There we go. I hope that's better. Anyway, yeah, it's pretty difficult to really understand, I guess is the best way to say it. But if I can break it down for you guys, the main reasons was because of Section 108 of Taking Care of Veterans Act, which was the tinnitus and the sleep apnea. And we went over that, and it's just absolutely crazy what happened and what they're saying about it. It doesn't matter. Nothing is going to happen as far as veterans benefits for a while. August recess, we have August recess, which is true. Elections, and then no one will care. It's true because right now it's like, oh, elections and everything like that. Everybody's, oh yeah, take care of veterans and everything. And then when the election dies off, it's like, yeah, whatever, right? Somebody wrote, I encourage veterans to stop all this fighting amongst our ranks. Absolutely true. I mean, you have the VFW against the American Legion, two prestigious organizations have been around for years. Listen up. If I can give you any advice, VFW, concentrate on all your posts that you're closing. I'm just saying, concentrate on everything that you're closing down left, right, and center. It seems like American Legion is doing something right. They're in the community and everything like that. You are a prestigious organization because you are veterans of foreign war. Not everybody can get into your posts. Not everybody can join your organization. They have to have a combat ribbon or some kind of a deployment ribbon, Armed Forces Service Medal, whatever be it, in order to join your ranks. American Legion just have to have served and honorably discharged. That's all. But they seem to be doing something right. Why would you go against another organization like that? Sit down, break bread with them, and figure it out and say, hey, listen, we don't like this. How about that? The DAV, listen, I'm disappointed. As a lifelong member of the DAV, Disabled American Veterans, I'm sad. I'm sad. Go out there and get busy helping each other, man. I couldn't say that better. As a member of both American Legion and DAV, why does the Legion support this legislation while the DAV opposes it? It's so true. You have two great organizations, three great, four great, five, all these organizations are great, but they're against each other. Why? It makes no sense. I'm sorry. DAV needs to provide the full set of facts in the future, not just a portion of the facts, right? And that's so true. It's so true. Man, I mean, these people are all just commenting on it and stuff like that. And the government can't figure out how to take care of veterans, then maybe they should just stop having them fight. Powerful. Wounded warrior, missing a limb, rated 30%. Fat vet with snoring issues, rated at 30%. Seems fair. I love that one. That one right there, that post right there is coming from Jonathan Michael Brulette. Wounded warrior, missing a limb, rated at 30%. Absolutely true. I know a female who was an amputee, and she was rated at 30% for that amputation. But a fat vet with snoring issues rated at 50%. Seems fair. I love it. That is too funny. That is too funny. It's pretty simple, really. As long as the Blue Falcons keep giving away our tax money to foreign countries, zero cuts. I mean, it's so true, man. I mean, I can sit here all day, and everybody knows that I don't talk really about politics or anything like that, but this is something that got me going, and I was just so ticked off, so angry at everything that just went on. So my producer is telling me it's time. He wants me to shut up and just go away, be quiet. Into the Weeds podcast. Don't forget Tracer Rounds, all the great shows on Military Broadcast Radio. It is 5:03 Eastern Standard Time. Thank everybody for joining my show. If you have any comments or anything, please feel free. Magic Mike at mbradio.us. That's Magic Mike at mbradio.us. Or you can go on my Facebook on Veterans Talk, or Instagram, or TikTok, or any other social media platform that we are at. Feel free to give me a review. Feel free to contact me. Let's talk about this. This is called Taking Care of Veterans Act. It was hijacked by the VFW, DAV, and IVA today. If you're not already doing so, listen, we are a nonprofit organization helping veterans. Reach out to us. We have a QR code. Reach out to us. Go ahead and donate. We would love to have your blessings to help us to continue giving veterans a voice. And that's what we do here at Military Broadcast Radio. Until next week, thank you for joining me. I promise I'll have more content and get better as it goes on. I have some of the greatest teachers, John Cole, who is Bunkhouse, and everybody else. Thank you so much for all your help. And again, we're here giving veterans a voice. And remember, at MBR, we're here for you, not for us, giving our veterans a voice. Thank you for joining me on Veterans Talk, and we'll see you next week.
Hi, I'm Beaker with Military Broadcast Radio TV. We're your virtual MWR, bringing veterans radio, podcasts, gaming, animation, 3D printing, and a community that never leaves you behind. Download our Roku or mobile app today.